I built it about a year and a half ago, and it just wasn't good enough. They printed Collected Company, and that made the deck much better, and I realized that it just played like fish, but the meta was really harsh on fish at the time. So I ran it, and I have been playing it since then. I just really like it. My name is Adam Bowman. I'm playing Slivers today at the Star City Open Cincinnati. They all have an ability that gives all other Slivers, or all Slivers you control, the ability to do something else. So it's a tribal deck that's especially threatening because every card in the deck will effectively turn into every other card in play. So you're playing a tribal deck where every single creature in your deck is a threat. So I am running all 5 colors in that I have a sliver in each color, but I tend to think of it more as monocolored in that the color is Slivers. Because while I have creatures that are all 5 colors, the only mana I can really produce that's real mana is green and black, and that's because I need swamps for Sedge Sliver and green for Collected Company. But when I say real mana, Cavern of Souls and Sliver Hive produce mana of any color but can only be used to cast Slivers. And Aether Vial is a pseudo mana fixer. It puts Slivers in no matter what color they are. I think 4 Mutavault, 4 Sliver Hive, 4 Cavern of Souls is absolutely correct. Cavern of Souls is just powerful. It fixes all my mana. It's excellent. Sliver Hive produces mana of any color for a Sliver, and I can pay 5 to produce a Sliver token. And a lot of the times, rather than attacking for sub-lethal for a few damage under 20, I'll just leave everything back and then tap my 5 Slivers to Manaweft to make a Sliver token. And Mutavault, of course, is a Sliver as well. You can give it Vigilance so you can still tap it for mana. It gets bigger. It's excellent. You need to have enough black sources for Sedge Sliver. So we've got 3 fetch lands, Godless Shrine, Overgrown Tomb, Watery Grave. You're usually going to fetch Overgrown Tomb first, and then a basic forest and a basic swamp for Pass, Ghost Quarters, and Blood Moons. I've got my 12 lords, which are Sinew, Predatory, and Sedge. And Sinew and Predatory are just 2 mana 1/1s that give all Slivers +1/+1. So they're efficient, they're effective. And then I have Sedge, gives all my creatures +1/+1 as long as I control a swamp, but it regenerates for a black mana. And regeneration is actually really powerful in Modern right now. At 1, we have Galerider Sliver, which is important because it gives your whole team evasion. It's just super efficient. And then there's some trickier Slivers. Blur is excellent because if they sweep, you can Collected Company hitting a Blur or just cast Blur and some other creatures. Necrotic is, you don't ever really want more than 1, but it's extremely powerful. It turns all your Slivers into Vindicate. Sentinel gives everything Vigilance, which lets you do lots of neat tricks like attack with your team, and then before blockers are declared, you can Collected Company by tapping all of them for mana with Manaweft. It also puts you way ahead on tempo with Manaweft, which is really important to the deck. Manaweft turns all my Slivers into Birds of Paradise. So it accelerates, it puts me ahead on tempo, and it also hits really hard because it gets bigger from all the lords. Then I've got 4 Mutavault, 4 Sliver Hive, lets you recover from sweepers. It lets you create creatures after they tap down your whole team with a Cryptic command, and it just, you don't really have a lot of card advantage, so you win with virtual card advantage most of the time, because they have dead cards, and eventually your lands become creatures too. You have a package of 2 Spellskite and 3 Diffusion. I would love for it to be 4 Diffusion. If you play it against Grixis, I had an opponent earlier today who I managed to get double Diffusion Sliver off of a Collected Company, and he showed me his hand had 4 Lightning Bolts, Kolaghan's Command, and Snapcasting Mage. He just can't target anything. Diffusion Sliver is excellent protection, albeit only for a few turns, but usually you'll win within a few turns, and they have to kill it over a Lord. Spellskite just has a lot of uses. It's never terrible. It's a pseudo Sliver because it protects my other Slivers, but it shuts off a lot of the combo matchups that I have a lot of trouble with. Aether Vial is the best turn 1, and the problem with a lot of Vial decks is they'll draw it late game and it'll be worse than a land. But the nice thing about Slivers is that even if I draw it on turn 6, if I play it on turn 6, it's still valuable as a way to put Slivers in at instant speed. Plus it helps with the color fixing, it lets me win through Blood Moon, it's really important. Collected Company is excellent. It gives you a lot of late game, it gives you a lot of selection, it lets me run fewer copies of cards because I can dig. I need to be able to put Slivers in at instant speed. I need more than just Vial to do that. It's not really a 75 card deck as much as a 116 card deck. Because there's a lot of swing slots for the meta. You just have options. There are a lot of Slivers. So I have 2 more Gemhides, which are just Manaweft, except they give all Slivers the ability, in order to have 2 more Accelerators, and 2 Telekinetic Sliver. And Telekinetic Sliver is extremely powerful because I can tap all of their lands every upkeep. And Tron doesn't have instant speed removal, so they just don't get to play anymore. and that's, again, one of the control cards. I have one Homing Sliver in the sideboard. Homing Sliver is 3 mana, cycle it to go get any Sliver, and while it's in play, Slivers in your hand have Sliver cycling. So I'll bring it in against against Tron, I really want Telekinetic Sliver, because I win the game when I cast Telekinetic Sliver. Sliver Hivelord gives everything indestructible. It's nice in control-ish decks that don't run Path, so against Jund and Grixis, they just have a lot of trouble dealing with it. They can't counter it. I can get into play on turn 3 off of Manaweft. I've only got the 1 copy because it's not great in multiples. I've got 2 more Spellskites because I've got 2 in the main. 1 Darkheart, 1 Syphon. Sometimes you want more Darkhearts for burn. Syphon is good against anything that you need to gain life in, and it lets you race against Affinity. And Harmonic Sliver is 3 mana, 1/1. Slivers you control have, when they come into play, Disenchant. If you resolve one against Affinity, they can't really win. And then Screeching Sliver, which is a 1 mana, 1/1 with tap, mill player 1. Screeching Sliver is probably the best addition because in some matchups you just need another 1-drop. A lot of the time the ability doesn't matter. But when it does matter, Screeching Sliver is the best card in the deck. Slivers share abilities. So I'd have to say my favorite thing about playing Slivers is the versatility. You can answer threats, you can apply pressure, and it's a really fun deck to play.